Voting is a fundamental right for all Americans, but people with disabilities sometimes have hurdles to clear when it comes to making their voices heard. Empower Abilities and Abilities First teamed up with local election officials today to help ease some of those challenges. Voting equipment that offers accommodations for people with various disabilities was available to try out. Election workers from Greene and Christian counties were also on hand to answer questions. A Springfield woman with impaired vision says she appreciates voting with the same privacy available to everyone else.
We are citizens, and citizens are supposed to have access to an independent ballot, and these machines enable that for us. We don't have to have somebody fill out the ballot. I've been here since 2018, and I have seen some really great improvements.
People could also register to vote at the event. The deadline to do so for the upcoming November election is October 9th.